Good afternoon, Bayview Mac Race fans. I'm Dobbs Davis, giving you the early Sunday afternoon, July 21st race analysis report. Our show is sponsored by Van Toll and Vitelli Insurance Group and LCS Record Retrieval. The big news we have today, not just today, but right now, within the past hour, is this here, which, excuse me, I'll zoom in on our tracker and we'll show you what's happening. Our first boats to finish are now gathering in the harbor. First to finish was the Askew family's boat, Wizard. Where is it? There it is. Dave and Peter Askew. They're long-term Great Lakes sailors, but they've also been sailing all over the world in a variety of boats. They had a Cal 40. They've had the ex Bellamente, a Udov 66. They have had a Volvo 70. Now they've got a TP 52. They've been in almost all the great ocean races of the world, and now they're first to finish here in the 100th Bayview Mac Race. So hats off to them. A hard-fought race. It was right down at the end, and I'll show you some rather exciting. I wish I had some photos. I'm waiting on our event photographer Martin to send me some from the race course, and he's being a little slow. I think he's tasked with trying to get these finishers as they're coming in. So this is Mackinac Island, and this is Beau Blanc, and the fleet is supposed to leave this to starboard coming up here toward the finish and then make a right turn across the finish line. This is different than the normal Bayview Mac race where they go north of the island and cross in a straight line through here. So just now crossing the finish line is Bob Hughes' TP52 Heartbreaker. So you can see that little turn has got him across the finish line, but he's just a little bit short of Mockingbird and Peter Askew and his brother Peter and David rather. They're Askew brothers boat, Wizard. Now let's if I can scroll back a little bit in time, I can show you it was really a hard-fought fight. Here we are. It was really a close fight between these two. So we're going to go back a bit here. So look at this setup. Oops, this thing's jumping around. My pals at YB have told me, yeah, we're going to make those scrolling controls a little less sensitive, but nonetheless, it's kind of cool. Here's Wizard poked out a little bit to leeward. Oh, wind, by the way, is from the east, and the wind has actually held up. These conditions have been favorable. I know this morning's broadcast I was predicting doom and gloom, and I am happily overridden by the actual weather rather than what was forecasted. The breeze is held in nicely. It is dropping out a bit now, and that has been in the forecast, but just as late as an hour ago, 1 o'clock local time, these guys were coming in at good speed, 11, 12 knots. Under spinnaker, you can see the little jogs of where they were jibing, so the wind was pretty good through in the channel here between the mainland and Beau Blanc, and they had to jibe in, then jibe back out, downwind VMG sailing. It was probably quite exciting between Wizard and Chris Duon's boat, Mockingbird. Now, Mockingbird had the lead in this class for a little while, so the Askews were pushing hard. And by the way, this team includes Volvo Ocean Race champion Charlie Enright, and other all-stars of offshore sailing. So it's quite a strong team. So these two pushing hard. I'll see if I can get this scroll bar to work to get it a little. Yeah, look at this. I mean, just in at the end. So look how close they are there. Oops. See if we can get this control to work. Anyway, yeah, nose to nose. I mean, literally, they could have been overlapped at that finish line there at the lighthouse. Just amazingly close racing after just about 24 hours. I don't know. We can look at their actual results. My guess is 24, 25 hours of racing, and to finish that close is really remarkable and a testament to the competitiveness of these teams. Third place was the DeVosses on WinQuest. Doug DeVos has also been a long-term, not just offshore but inshore racing champion. He's got a boat called Quantum Racing that's in the Super Series, 52 Super Series. That is now actually this season in the U.S. It's headed back to Europe, but seasoned competitor for sure in a variety of boat types. And so these are the best of the best. These teams that are out here in the front. I'm going to go back a little bit to show some other news from the race course. Let me scroll out. And yeah, let me also try to go back a little bit in time to show one bit of news, that because those that are paying attention here might say, well, whatever happened to Maverick? Whatever happened to the boat that was leading the pack, the 80-foot canting keel boat? And unfortunately, what happened to them, according to Sandy Burris, one of the co-skippers, is they had a mast compression problem. Let's see if they show up here. We need to go to this control. We're going to go to Class A. And they may not be on here, but you can see that they retired. And they may have turned off their tracker too. But what happened is they were in the lead, solidly in the lead for a while, making this final approach into the top of the race course. And I think right around this area here, they had a mast compression problem. I'm going to bring up the message that I got from Sandy, and he said, compression break below the deck saved the rig. So that's one of those good news, bad news things. Let's see if I can get a photo. He sent me a photo of the spar, and see if I can share that. Oops, no, can't open that page. So we'll go back. Anyway, he's got a photo. There it is. For those that can see this, the key here is the mast is up, but what's wrong with this picture? Look at all the rigging that's slack. So the rig is not pumped up to its normal tension. They had some sort of compression failure at the base of the mast. They dropped the sails, probably took it off the jack, and it's was therefore kept the rig up, but couldn't sail for sure. Last I saw on the tracker, they're at Mackinac City, probably there at the boatyard, but that's an unfortunate outcome for the excuse me, for the Maverick team. Last week they set a course record for the Chicago race, but unfortunately, they weren't going to set a course record for this race for sure, but they were in the lead and were certainly capable of getting first to finish honors. Okay, now, so let's go back and look at everybody else. I'm going to get back up here and zoom out so we get a sense of where everybody is in current time. And I need to get to that scroll bar. There it is. Okay, so here's where everybody is. Good progress. Everybody past Saginaw Bay, Thunder Bay here. They're making their way across here. Boat speeds are pretty good. Let's turn on the Windy app, and the Windy app is showing pretty much the same as it showed this morning, meaning these guys, it looked like doom and gloom because we're going to sail into this ridge and have no wind at all, and yet they are out there with wind. It's not tremendous wind. It's probably in the order of about 10 to 12 knots, maybe a little less, but if you just look at some of the boats, like here, this J88, 2 knots. They got a little too far north, so they're likely getting passed by everybody to lure to them. because the boat speeds down here for J120 is 4.5 knots. So not fast, but they are moving. Um, and so yeah, the ridge that was predicted is probably here, and so the key is not to get stuck out here in it. One could argue, and we saw this in our routing graphic from yesterday, that one pathway could have been to go up on and around this ridge, but nobody's done that. Everybody's stuck close to shore, led by the GL 52s, and they yeah, and again they're going to be sailing against each other, looking at each other, not trying to hit a home run by going way out over this ridge and maybe coming in from another angle. They just stuck out in front and followed the leader and raced each other. So no, certainly no course records getting set, but these are the first boats to finish by using that strategy. Let's see, a couple other things. Oh, so I guess the good news is that the champagne sailing that I described this morning for all the teams that were out there and a bit last night, it looks like it's holding in. It's not so like on the far 60 Dam Yankee, 6.8 knots. That's not really fast for that boat, but that they are moving. So it's probably not the nice speeds they had this morning. I wanted to actually point out one other thing here. The next group that's out here are the Santa Cruz 70s, and that class, they are led. Well, look at this. So there's another TP Nimbus. They're led, I believe, by Stripes. Let's see, there's Ohana. Where is... here we are. Pied Piper. That's another of the sled genre. These were boats, long, narrow boats that were designed and built in the 1980s and 90s on the West Coast. They were first to finish Transpac boats, long, narrow, not a whole lot of sail area, but they didn't need it because they were so light. Really excelling at running in a variety of conditions. These boats have been back and forth from the West Coast to the Midwest. I think the greatest concentration of them is now here in the Midwest, and they were basically replaced as the premier class in the Transpac at the end of the last century, and in 2001 was the debut of what we now call Transpac 52s. That was a design parameter that was invented by the Transpac Yacht Club to define an offshore-worthy modern design that could be first to finish in that race. And the TPs have certainly endured that, and now they're used all over the world in a variety of contexts. But these boats, the sleds, are certainly still great boats, and they enjoy good racing. You can see how close they are here. But it's not a surprise to me that they've been beaten boat for boat by the TPs. Again, it's generational. It's a 30 years difference in design evolution. Okay, so that's that story. Let's go to some other. Just going to go to a few here. Look at some of the classes I've been tracking. So Class J. If we go to up here, Class J, and click those off, then we can, as I showed you all this in this morning's show, this is a clever method at isolating classes of interest and teams of interest that you want to see, is using that tool. So leading the pack here is Fast Tango, Tim Proffitt's 1970s era Dick Carter design. He is a reigning champion in this class and does extremely well. He's actually, frankly, the only defending champion that I think I can see at this moment who is still, on good pace to defend that title. Other ones in the class, Detours in second. Eliminator, where's Eliminator? Yeah, so here's the Eliminator. They've also been a class champion here. Chris Van Tol gave me some info from last night. He said They had a beautiful night with a full moon setting behind us as we approached dawn. The breeze held all night long with nothing below 7 knots. Modest progress until the sun started to come up, and now very tight blast reaching and a building breeze. And that was at about 9 o'clock this morning. So that I think is a nice first-person narrative to describe the champagne sailing that they've had on Eliminator. So right now they're sitting third in the class. I know that they'll be pushing hard to try to get up there, and even though they're only going 4 knots now, at least they're moving along this coast. That's a lot better than what we're seeing in the graphic in the high pressure ridge that's sitting out in this area. Hopefully that holds for them to continue to keep moving, because ahead of them, Detour, the Italia 9.98, they could be slowing down, and Tim as well, 3.2 knots. So what I did predict this morning is holding true a little bit here, as things are starting to get slow. These guys are going to be fighting through the rest of today and perhaps into tonight to get around this point. Let's see, I had another story from Tim McGuire in Class I. Let's go to that one. So Class I. All right. Tim is got a J112E, and is his boat's called Elevation. They are also a defending class champ from last year. Where is he? I think he too was lying about third or so, somewhere in this neighborhood. See if we can find him. Of course, the way to do this is to look here. Sorry, wrong class. Class I. Next class. Where are they? Oop, that's good. Nope, now they're leading the class. Okay, well done. Well, I am wrong about Tim. He's not the only defending champion doing well in his class. So is Tim McGuire and his team on Elevation. They are also not going fast, 3.5 knots, but it's fast enough to stay ahead of the pack that he's got in that class. Report from Tim last night was interesting, and he shared a photo. He said, "Great night, much better wind than you originally forecast. We enjoyed very tight racing with our normal beer can competition Phoenix. Right now we're getting our condition. Close hauled, 16 plus knots of wind speed." Now, that was earlier this morning. They're certainly not getting that now, but let me see if I can share this photo. Now, he took this photo of he said, "My 60-year-old wife on the bow." He said she decided to do foredeck. She normally does the pit. I guess she went up on the bow to get some cleanup done this morning, and Tim decided to share with us a photo. So well done. That's I think this is inspiring for all wives of a certain age who want to get up there and get in there and get some work done. This is awesome and inspiring. Let's see, what else do we have? Traveler. I wanted to look at that class. This is Cruising Class Q. And there they are there. We'll turn off Class I. So they're not in the same neighborhood as Tim's class, but here they are. This is a wide variety of cruising boats. What I wanted to look for was another defending champion, and that's Traveler. I'm going to get to that class. They're lying third. So this is Jeremy Thompson's boat. It is an interesting old boat, 1974 vintage, called a Grampian 30. And actually, what's interesting as well, and not real inspiring for the light air that we typically get here, is that boat has a spar that's shorter than normal. Apparently, it was built for the Toronto Boat Show in 1974, and they cut the rig down in order for it to fit in the building. And Tim's the second owner of this boat, and he loves it, and and guess what? He sails the hell out of it, and with a good rating, they're competitive. So, where is the Traveler? There's a Saving Grace. Ariel, maybe they're a little further back. Yeah, they're not a particularly fast boat, but they do plug along. They do sail well relative to their rating. Look at all these boats out here. Yeah, quite a few. Okay, so I'm going to have to resort to this other method of finding them by clicking on that. And maybe they're hidden. Anyway, whoops. Yeah, so, oh, there they are. So, there they are. They're going along. 6.2 knots, not bad. Maybe they're back, as you can see by the, if you believe the graphic and believe the forecast and the windy app, yeah, they still have some wind. And let's see if I can find Tim's message. He, I'm sorry, not Tim, but Jeremy. Yeah, Jeremy didn't give me much. He said just laid down after 3 hours of driving. So, but he caught a little snapshot of the view out the portal, and I see a full sail, and yeah, so he's got to hang in there. He's still got an important push ahead, he and his team, but they've got some work to do in order to defend their title. I do have, let's see, oh, one other story, and that's from the double-handed class, and this is kind of a nice one. So double-handed, turn that off, and let's look on the leaderboard. This boat, let's go to double-handed. Yeah, American Flyer is still in the lead. That when we last looked at this class, they were doing well, but here in 5th place is Legacy. The significance of this team is that it's a father-daughter team. So Scott Sorby is sailing with his daughter Kathy, teenage daughter Kathy, by the way. They're not tearing the world up at 3.3 knots in their J88, but he did have a good story I thought I'd share with everyone about dynamics of parenting. Good morning. After a disastrous start, we got caught in between the east and western flows near Lexington. We've been trying to claw our way back. Last night was good for us. We tried to stay in tight around the tip of the thumb to minimize the transition zone between the southern shift to the north. Probably stayed a bit too long on port tack heading northeast. Then a little bit later, and this was 7:30 this morning, so this is pretty early. Enjoying a nice power fetch to Thunder Bay. This is what happens when teens don't get enough sleep. Engage zombie mode. All right, so all you parents of teenagers, maybe you know what that means. My teenager just graduated from college, so I thankfully have that in the rearview mirror. Anyway, so this is an interesting group. They're pretty well spread out, but double-handed. So, you know, after 24 hours of sailing with only 2 people, this can be a quite challenging effort for them. And they've got a ways to go, and they've got some light air ahead, but yeah, but still plugging along. One of the leaders out here poked out in front, J111 Utah. They're 4.9 knots. That's not too bad. 6.2 knots in Melgus 32. However, Melgus 32, awesome boat in light air, but it's also going to rate very fast. So they've got to stay ahead of the rating in order to get up in the front ranks of the corrected time. All right, I'm getting messages coming in now. I'm hoping these are, and they are, finished photos. So let me see if I can share some of these with you. So there it is. That's Mockingbird, and this is at the finish line just about an hour, a little more than an hour ago. Not super windy, as you can see. They're just jib reaching. Nobody's hiked out, but that's them getting across. Let's see what else Martin has for me. Oh, here's a nice one. It is aerial view from a drone of the power reach coming in. Looks like an A1 spinnaker with a staysail. And this is the Wizard, I believe. Yep, 5294. Does that sound right? Yeah, full focus here. We can't see where the finish line is, but one of the things to see as well is they've have another staysail deployed here. No doubt they were switching back and forth in different staysails depending on how much breeze they had. I doubt if they went through any spinnaker changes, because being so close to the competition, that would slow you down enough you might lose some pace. So very, very competitive racing in that class. Let's see what else Martin has for us. Oh yeah, this is a nice one. So here they are coming around the corner, and as predicted, these guys are super close. That last photo was not Wizard, that was Mockingbird. But this photo shows Wizard to Leeward. So bow out, going fast, team hiked out, pushing for all they have. I'm not sure if we could blow up. Yeah, look at this. So everybody hiked out hard here. It's got to be a little frustrating when you know it's so close and you may not quite get there, but certainly hard-fought battle for these teams. These are our first two finishers coming across the finish line at Mackinac Island. So thanks to Martin for those great photos. Let's see if I've got any others here. Yeah, much the same. This looks like everybody's standing up, getting off the rail. So they've no doubt just crossed the finish line. So congrats to those two teams and all others that are coming into the finish now. You can see beautiful day here on Mackinac Island. And I think with that, we'll close this show and leave you with this screen. I think I'm going to do the next show probably somewhere around sunset today, just to show progress for the rest of the fleet. And as always, I thank you for tuning in. I'm Dobbs Davis, signing off for now from the Bayview Mac Race.